Hi, good to see you again. I'm Graham Martin, I'm the Recruitment Guy. You know, in my experience, the best prepared person often actually gets the job. Not necessarily the person that's best for the role, but the best prepared person. And it often comes down, of course, to the interview. And at the end of most interviews, there tends to be some really difficult questions to answer. And these questions often really trip people up. And in my experience, they're the same questions that come up time and time again. So what I'm doing is I'm collating a list of the top 20 most difficult questions that you need to be prepared for. So I'd love to get your top 20, email them to me at help@therecruitmentguy.com. But in the meantime, here's my top 3. And that's as a result of a poll that I conducted with some people that are registered with us at the moment. Now, for me, the number one most difficult interview question is, what weaknesses do you have? Now, this is one that really causes people a lot of sleepless nights and, should we say, opportunities to pull their hair out. But you know what? You can get around it by preparation. If you know in advance that you're going to be asked, what are your weaknesses, then you can prepare and you can have your answer ready. Now, what I would suggest you do is you use something that you can actually put a positive spin on it as well to make it sound better. So, for example, you could say, well, actually, my data entry speeds aren't that high. In fact, they're average. They're about 5,000 keystrokes per hour. However, I am 99% accurate. And in my current role, that was more important than anything. So my weakness is that I'm not that fast. But on the back of that, I'm really super accurate. So think about that kind of structure as a way of positioning a weakness and turning it into a positive. The second one, which often comes up, is, why did you leave your last company? Now, this is a very, very difficult one because sometimes, not always, sometimes people leave because, guess what? They've been sacked. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment you should lie. However, I do believe that people should use a much more positive reason for leaving an organisation. So they should start thinking about new opportunities, new prospects, new challenges, new horizons. But don't be too fluffy. Just saying I'm looking for a new challenge isn't enough. You need to say, well, the reason I left the company is because in my most recent role I wasn't being fulfilled because for whatever reason you were getting a lack of responsibility, a lack of challenge, a lack of targets, no more training, a lack of prospects. That's the kind of thing. And you then relate it to the firm you're applying to or the specific role, which is why the reason I'm interested in your role is because you do offer training or prospects or a more clearly defined set of targets. Now, it could be just a simple aspect that you're looking for more money. If that's the case, you need to explain why you need more money. It's not just about being greedy. It might be the fact you've got a bigger mortgage, or maybe the interest rates have gone up, or you've just got a bigger family, or you've been involved in an expensive sport, or you need to save money for a massive family holiday next year. But give the reasons. Don't make it fluffy. And for goodness sake, don't say, I didn't get on very well with somebody. And the third one, in my experience, most difficult question to answer is, where do you see yourself in 3 or 5 years' time? Now, this tends to be used in a lot of sketches about, how not to interview very well. Let's ignore the things that perhaps you shouldn't say, but focus on what you should say. In my experience, the answer that gets the most impressive results are whereupon people start talking about, in 3 to 5 years within your company, I'd like to be, and then fill in the blanks. Now, don't say run your business or have your job, but start talking about things that are specifically related to your role. Maybe be a team leader. Maybe have greater responsibility. Maybe have pursued some specific training. But you really need to have planned it. Good preparation will give you a much better performance. If you wing it, you're really going to struggle with any of these. So I suggest what you do is you write them down, you role play them, you think about them, and you consider where you might be tripped up and how to answer these questions. So when it comes down to where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years' time, think what is realistic but a little bit of a stretch. You don't want to be saying that you want to run the Virgin Empire if you're starting with Virgin Airline within the first 2 months. Of course, it's about moving on bit by bit by bit. So think about your answers, structure them, role play them, and don't panic. It's going to be fine. Remember, you only need to be better than the previous or the next candidate. Remember, it's not often the best candidate that gets the job, but it's the best prepared. Hope that works for you, and if you've got any that you want to send me as your top interview questions that you need help with, let me know. Graham@therecruitmentguy.com. Bye for now.